How much do I need to retire comfortably? Have you ever asked yourself that question? This question affects every single one of us because we all want to retire one day. But how do we do that comfortably? That is exactly what we are going to dive into in today's video. A lot of us can have a hard time deciding how much to save and invest in order to retire comfortably. So let's talk about exactly how to do this. And I'm going to share the steps that I took to be able to retire comfortably. The first thing to consider is your retirement lifestyle. What type of lifestyle do you want to be living during your retirement years? Because the amount of money you need to retire is going to be dependent upon that lifestyle. Do you want to travel frequently? Do you want to have a huge mansion on the hill? Or do you want to just have a simple home somewhere in the valley and take a small vacation every year? It is up to you. So you need to decide what type of lifestyle do you really want, because it's going to play a significant role in determining your retirement needs. And for me personally, I don't need that mansion in Malibu. I just like a comfortable home that I can have people come over, we can hang out and watch a movie maybe, or do something outside in the backyard, things like that. I don't need something really extravagant. So my needs for retirement are not that extreme. And yes, I do want to be taking vacations, but I don't need to be traveling on a private jet, going to the Caribbean all of the time. I can take smaller vacations here and there, and I can also travel internationally, but I don't need to do it on a private jet. And then the second thing to look at is your current income and your current expenses. And then think about how that is going to change in your retirement years. Of course, our expenses will change over time. We will get rid of certain expenses, perhaps a mortgage payment because our house will be paid off, or a car payment because that will be paid off as well. But our medical expenses could be going up later in life. And experts suggest taking 70 to 80% of your current expenses, and that would be the expenses you would need in your retirement years. But decide what is going to work best for you. Because if you are retiring early, your expenses might be pretty similar to what they are now. And one way that I like to easily track my expenses and my income is by using a free app. It used to be called Personal Capital. It is now called Empower. You can hook all of your financial accounts to Empower, and you can see your full financial picture in one place. So you can see all of your expenses that you have right now. And then you can determine, okay, am I still going to be spending a similar amount of money in the future? If that is something you're interested in, I will leave my referral link below in the description. You can click on that and set up a free Empower account. The third thing to consider is your retirement age. When do you want to actually retire? I know for me, I clearly wanted to retire earlier than normal. A lot of people retire in their 60s. But there is a big movement out there, maybe you've heard of it, it's called the FIRE movement, Financial Independence Retire Early. And a lot of people are retiring in their 30s and 40s and 50s, so a lot earlier than the typical retirement age. Determine when you want to retire, because that is going to affect how much money you are going to need to invest and save right now. And then the fourth thing to take into consideration is inflation. We've seen really high inflation rates recently, but that probably won't stick around forever. But you do want to be aware that costs are going to go up over time. So we can't just stick to a flat amount and not adjust for inflation, because the amount of money you will need to live off of in retirement is going to be higher than if you were to retire today just because of inflation. And the way I figured out how much money I would need to retire is by using the 4% rule. And I do cover this in more detail in another video. I will leave a link to that above. You can check it out later on. You're going to take your yearly expenses that you will have in your retirement years and multiply that number by the number 25. And that is going to be the amount you are going to need to have invested, not just saved, but invested to retire and live comfortably. For example, if your annual expenses are $40,000, if you multiply that by the number 25, you're going to get $1 million. You would need $1 million invested in order to retire and live comfortably. And that number is adjusted for inflation. Comment below and tell me if you know your retirement number or your financial freedom number already. And then the fifth item to consider is Social Security. And this is not a guarantee, but it is something that you can add into your retirement numbers when you are figuring those out. But just realize that it may not all be there. Social Security depends on how much money you have paid into Social Security over your working years. And you can actually create a free account if you haven't already on the Social Security website, and it will give you an estimate on what your Social Security amount would be in retirement years. And just remember not to count on this money, but it is fun to log in there and see what the estimate would be. And then the sixth thing to consider when you are asking yourself, how much do I need to retire comfortably, is what are you investing in right now? Do you have retirement accounts set up, or even non-retirement accounts set up that you can invest your money in? And are you actually investing that money? And I want to be clear on this because sometimes people set up those accounts, but they don't actually invest that money in the stock market. It's just sitting in the account and not being invested in some type of index fund inside of the stock market. Make sure and double check your accounts that you have your money invested in the stock market, and not just have your account set up and cash sitting in there. It is nice if you have a 9-to-5 job and your employer offers a 401k with a match, then you can at least invest in your 401k up to that match and start getting some free money that way. And of course, you can also set up investment accounts on your own. You can set up a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, depending on your situation, or you can even set up a brokerage account. And if you want more information about what a brokerage account is, I do have a video breaking this down and the benefits of having a brokerage account. I will leave a link to that above. But I want to just share really quickly that I am really glad that I set up a brokerage account. I also have a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. But what I did when I was purchasing my fourth property, I was able to take money out of my brokerage account and my Roth IRA, because you can take out your contributions tax-free and penalty-free. But I took money out of my investment accounts and put that toward my down payment on that property. That money had grown so much in the stock market over just the few years I had it in there that I had a significant amount in there. I still left some money in there, and then I took some out for my down payment on my property. When you are investing in certain types of accounts, it doesn't mean that you have to leave your money in there until age 59 and a half. You can actually pull that money out earlier. And yes, there are taxes that you will pay depending on which account it is, and you want to be careful not to take out money that is going to have a penalty. But there is some flexibility there. And if you are wondering about the differences between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, I also have a video on that. I'll leave a link above. And for me, I'm glad I did not just stick to a 401k plan and invest only in that. I'm glad I set up my other accounts, my Roth IRA and my brokerage account, and put money in those accounts. Because honestly, just by having a 401k, that may not get you to retirement when you want to be retired. The more money we can invest even earlier, the better off we are going to be, because we will be able to retire even earlier. And retiring earlier may not mean that you're retiring before typical retirement age, but it could mean you get to retire in your 60s. Just depending on your situation, you want to make sure you are investing as much as possible as soon as possible. And if this is something you want help with, I do have a free masterclass. I will leave a link below in the description, and you can click on that and check out my masterclass. And then the seventh thing that we want to take into consideration when we are figuring out how to retire comfortably is knowing how to withdraw our money from our investment accounts when we are ready. We don't want to run out of money too soon, but we don't want to have too much money in there that we aren't having any fun in our retirement years. Like I mentioned before, I like following the 4% rule, which means you can withdraw 4% of your investments every single year, adjusted for inflation, and be able to live comfortably and know that your money is going to last. Comment below and tell me one thing you are going to do to make sure that you are able to retire comfortably when you want to. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. description, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.